Jai Hind everyone. In this video, we'll know about IC-814 flight hijack. On December 24, 1999, 5 masked terrorists seized in midair the controls of an Indian Airlines flight IC-814 from Kathmandu to Delhi with 178 passengers and 11 crew members on board. 6 days later, the government capitulated to the Pakistani hijackers' demand for the release of 3 top terrorists lodged in the Indian jails. What really happened during hijack? The aircraft was piloted by 37-year-old Captain Devi Sharan and First Officer Rajendra Kumar with 58-year-old flight engineer Anil Kumar Jagya. The Airbus was hijacked by 5 masked terrorists shortly after it entered Indian airspace at about 5:30 IST. The hijackers ordered the aircraft to be flown to a series of locations, Amritsar, Lahore, and across the Persian Gulf to Dubai. The hijackers finally forced the aircraft to land in Kandahar, Afghanistan, which at the time was controlled by the Taliban. The hijackers released 27 of 176 passengers in Dubai but fatally stabbed one and wounded several others. At that time, most of Afghanistan, including the Kandahar airport where the hijacked plane landed, was under Taliban control. Taliban fighters encircled the aircraft to prevent any Indian military intervention, which was found by current National Security Advisor Ajit Doval when he landed there. They also found 2 ISI officers were on apron and the others soon joined them. One was a lieutenant colonel and the other a major. Doval said that if the Taliban hijackers did not have ISI support, India could have resolved the crisis. The motive for the hijacking apparently was to secure the release of Islamist terrorists held in prison in India. The hostage crisis lasted for 7 days and ended after India agreed to release 3 terrorists, Mustaq Ahmad Sarkar, Ahmad Omar Said Sheikh, and Masood Azhar. The 3 have since been implicated in other terrorist actions such as the 2002 kidnapping and murder of Daniel Pearl and the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks. The hijacking has been seen as one of the Millennium attack plots in late December 1999 and early January 2000 by Al-Qaeda-linked terrorists. One of the terrorists who hijacked the Air India plane IC-814 in 1999, Hazur Mistry, was killed by bike-borne assailants in Karachi, Pakistan. Now, let's know the inside story. On 24 December 1999, Indian Airlines flight IC-814 took off from Kathmandu, Nepal with Delhi, India as its intended destination. The flight left with 180 persons on board, including both the crew and the passengers. One of the passengers on board was Roberto Giaro, the then owner of De La Rue Giaro, a company which controlled the majority of the world's currency printing business at that time. Shortly after the flight left Kathmandu, senior steward Anil Sharma was accosted by a man wearing a ski mask who told him that the plane was being hijacked and that he was carrying a bomb. The hijackers instructed Captain Devi Sharan to fly west, and accordingly, the flight entered Pakistani airspace but was refused permission to land in Lahore, Pakistan by Pakistani Air Traffic Control. On being told that there was insufficient fuel to go further, the hijackers allowed Captain Sharan to land the flight in Amritsar, Punjab to refuel. Subsequent intelligence reports indicated that the hijackers had purchased 5 tickets on the flight in Kathmandu. 2 first-class flight tickets were brought directly, while 3 economy seats were brought through a travel agency. Indian intelligence officials believed that Dawood Ibrahim, an Indian gangster globally wanted terrorist hiding in Islamabad, Pakistan, had provided assistance in giving the hijackers access to the airport in Kathmandu. Passenger accounts later stated that the hijackers ordered the crew to take away the lunch that had been served and separated the men from the women and children, blindfolding them and threatening them with explosives if they did not cooperate. Landing in Amritsar. Government took initiative in taking necessary action at Amritsar, but soon after the terrorists realized about it, they forced the pilot to take off without refueling the aircraft. By then, the militants killed a civilian. Landing in Lahore, Pakistan. In the beginning, it didn't allow the aircraft to land, but then, as it was an emergency to refuel the aircraft, they gave the signal to land and the aircraft was refueled at Lahore. Landing in Dubai. Indian government requested UAE for taking necessary action, but the Dubai government did not cooperate for it. Landing in Kandahar, Afghanistan. After the aircraft landed in Kandahar, Taliban authorities offered to mediate between India and the hijackers, which India believed initially. Since India did not recognize the Taliban regime, it dispatched an Indian official from its High Commission in Islamabad to Kandahar. India's lack of previous contact with the Taliban regime complicated the negotiating process. The negotiations. As the hijackers made it clear of their demands, Indian government negotiated with the help of Taliban and released the prisoners on demand. These demands included the release of 36 prisoners but was ultimately reduced during negotiations to 3 prisoners. And those are Maulana Masood Azhar, who founded Jaish-e-Mohammed in 2000, which gained notoriety for its alleged role in the 2001 Indian Parliament attack and 2008 Mumbai attacks, which led to death of hundreds of people, along with the 2019 Pulwama attack, which led to the death of 44 CRPF personnel. Ahmad Omar Saeed Sheikh was arrested in 2002 by Pakistani authorities for the abduction and murder of Daniel Pearl. Sheikh, who had been imprisoned in connection with the 1994 kidnapping of Western tourists in India, went on to murder Daniel Pearl and also allegedly played a significant role in planning the September 11 attacks in the United States. Mustaq Ahmed Sarkar, who had played an active role since release in training Islamic terrorists and militants in Pakistan administration, Jammu and Kashmir. Mustaq Ahmed Sarkar was released from a Srinagar prison along with Sheikh and Azhar are flown to Kandahar. When the prisoners were brought to airport, an ambulance arrived. As per the sources, the hijackers and the released prisoners ran away in that ambulance. However, instead of arresting the hijackers and 3 prisoners who had been handed over to them, Taliban authorities drove them to the Afghanistan-Pakistan border to Quetta in Pakistan. Nearly 22 years later, the real perpetrators of the crime continue to remain beyond the reach of law, with only one collaborator behind bars now. Jai Hind everyone.